I just want to talk about what makes a good anime today because I've been watching anime for a really, really long time. And whenever I start to think about what makes a good anime, it always is one of those things that's so subjective to the kind of the genre of the anime, what mood I'm in, and just a whole bunch of different factors. So, if you don't already know who I am a music recording artist, TonyXTony, don't forget the X. I love to talk about anime though, because that's one of my favorite things in the world. Oftentimes, my songs sometimes even include lines about anime, so if that interests you, go check me out. Anyway, so the things that make a good anime to me are just let's start. This is all coming off the top. I didn't want to write anything down because I wanted this to be extremely organic and for me to really just kind of talk candidly about anime and the things that really stand out to me. And the first thing that really is one of my favorite aspects that sets anime apart from any other genre is the storytelling. And with anime, there is a weird aspect of storytelling that comes into play sometimes where the characters' interactions can be a little bit weird, like age wise. But if you can get past all those things and then just enjoy the storylines for what they be, especially whenever it comes to shonen genre, where sometimes the stories don't necessarily make the most sense, but they're very engaging and just driven by just energy and fun and the way that the characters interact with each other amongst themselves as friends and enemies, and the way that they flesh out enemies and stuff like that oftentimes in anime is just done differently than any other genre. So I was thinking about it, sometimes in the way that American culture works, the way that we create a villain, the villain is empty a lot of the times. They're just a villain to be a villain. They got the dumbest reasons to be one sometimes, and I just feel like, bro. And I'd say that this doesn't exist in anime, but I feel like in anime they really do a lot more of. They have a much more concerted effort to yeah, let's make the villain dynamic, and then that really helps because I think about characters like Meruem from Hunter x Hunter, one of the most complex heroes or villains of all time, and just the way that he was able to be fleshed out. He went from just his pure villain arc to his arc of just being more understanding about the world, and all this happened in such a short amount of time for him. He really started to figure out the things that kind of make him stand out in the world and feel like he's a part of the where does he stand in society basically. He met Komogi opened his eyes up to the potential of human beings, just besides just being food and a resource to power up the chimera ants and stuff like that. So yeah, the villains definitely a big check whenever it comes to anime. I think of Mamoru Uchiha. I think about even just the Akatsuki, the way that the groups are built. I think about My Hero Academia and the villains in that show. I think about so many of the different things that just make the villains in anime very stellar. And don't get me wrong, there is a times where I'm just it's lacking because that's just storytelling. Sometimes some stories just aren't going to live up to the expectations that we kind of have for it. And also, so since we're going to talk about the villains, I kind of want to talk about the antagonists. Or the protagonists, I'm sorry. We just talked about. I should have said the antagonists instead of the villains. The antagonists of the stories tend to have much more of they're much more fleshed out. And because not necessarily are they always villainous. Sometimes it's just you have a opposing force to the protagonist, and that opposing force is always well thought out. Even in stories like Death Note, where they're not necessarily I would say that um Kira, he's definitely the protagonist. L, he's the um come on, bro. He's the antagonist, and as the antagonist, he's definitely the good guy. But that's so subjective too. While Light is the one with the Death Note, crime drops significantly, and he's able to just change the way that the world works as a whole, especially Japan. He really shifted the way that the culture of Japan worked, and it's kind of nuts to think that somebody was able to do all that while kind of being the bad guy. You know what I mean? It's weird. He's playing God, and that kind of makes him wrong in a way. So now let's go to the protagonist. And the protagonist of the stories, depending on the subcategory anime that you're watching, the subgenre, it can vary. So whenever we're talking shonen, are the characters the most diverse and dynamic characters of all time? Sometimes they can be they have aspects of them that are very much expansible. Like you can definitely expand on some of their traits, but at the same time, it's like one of those weird things of they can also be kind of like flat, and it feels like that on purpose because you want to establish the character for who the character is. So when you start to add too many different elements to them, the reader or the watcher might become a little bit confused on like who is this character and what is their motivations. And I think that a lot of the times anime does a very good job at explaining the motivations of the characters and really kind of like making that known. So I really enjoy that aspect of anime. Protagonists, the characters. I enjoy the stories. I enjoy the art. Like the art in anime and stuff like that is just like always so good. And it's like even when I'm reading the mangas, I'm just like I can't even picture the story sometimes as like an anime because the way that they translate a manga from a manga to an anime sometimes is just unimaginable the way that they think about ways to improve it and blow your imagination out the water. And of course that can work the other way where like your imagination is on overdrive and you're like, yo, this right here that I'm reading is the cleanest thing that I've ever seen, and it just doesn't translate to the manga or to the anime sometimes. And that's like a sad thing, but you know, I've come to learn that you don't necessarily always have to have a one-to-one transfer from any source material to the new material that you're going to create. So, just because the manga is one way doesn't necessarily mean that the anime has to be the same exact way. Oftentimes, if it is, it's just like moments. Like there's certain moments where we're like, yeah, translate this for me, please, because I really need to see this the way that the collective of us all like kind of imagine this. And that's the thing. I think we all do kind of imagine things on the same frequency, especially if it's impactful enough. And that's where the art comes into play. Like, oh man, I just really have been enjoying it. Even so, I really think that the change of like animation and the improvement of them anime and stuff like that that has shifted from like my knowledge and my memory was Fate. Like the Fate series was always just one of those series that was just like above everything else. Then Attack on Titan came, and then like we got all these other things like as spawned from those beautiful animations and just the styles that they decided to take on and just like build upon that. Now we got things like Demon Slayer and even the current day Attack on Titan, and just like One Piece has been incredible. All the animes that have been like on top of their game art wise have been so good. And I even like how there's so many different styles and ways that they even just like kind of draw the anime. So you'll have Naruto, and then you have Kill la Kill, and then you'll have JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. All these art styles, they look like anime, but they're so different in the way that they like even establish the color palettes that carry on throughout the episodes and moving forward. So for instance, JoJo, you might see them in one color palette one episode, and then the next one you be like, whoa, what happened? Like, why is the colors different? And that's just like a design aesthetic that the studios decided to go with, and I love it. It's amazing, and I think it's a great choice. Even things like Mob Psycho 100, where you see like the really harsh coloring and the shading that's like really just like over the top, and Mob, whenever he's in a normal day to day, like the colors are super vibrant and static, but then sometimes you see Mob go into his like accessing his like full power mode. I forgot what that's called right now, but everything just becomes black and white, and it's like, oh snap, you know that this is about to be crazy. So we covered characters, we covered story, we covered art. Those are kind of like my favorite ones, but just some honorable mentions. I think I really like the community that comes with anime, and I know that this is an understated one. We always can overlook that, but I always meet people, and I don't necessarily become friends with everybody that's an anime fan, but it's such a respectful community because whenever I'm out and about and then somebody sees a piece of clothing that I'm wearing that represents a show that they like, or even a show that they might not have even seen, people just come up to you and ask about it, like, yo, what do you think about that show? Like, I have a shirt of Emma from Promise Neverland, and people always are like, yo, that looks cool. It's just her with her number on her neck, her tag, just looking like Emma. She's just doing her little thing. She's not. It's not even like the coolest shirt to me, but it's pink, and I think that stands out because I'm a guy, so people are automatically looking like, why is he wearing pink? And then you see Emma on it, and it's just like, oh, that's sick, actually. And the conversation just kind of expands from there, and it's amazing. I just love those kind of interactions. I really love whenever I'm wearing something, and then okay, I've had friends, like real life friends. I had this one piece necklace at one point in my life. And I used to go to Auntie Anne's because I love pretzels, especially the soft pretzels from Auntie Anne's. Probably going to kill us all one day. Who knows? I don't know. Everything's going to kill us apparently. But anyway, I had this one friend. His name was Nate. Bro, me and Nate became such good friends whenever it came to like One Piece. We kind of like fell off a little bit because he had things going on in his life. And you know, that's just what happens in life. But the fact that I got to meet somebody and we was friends for like a good 2 to 3 years, and I still follow him on social medias and stuff. We just don't really talk that much no more. But the way that we was able to connect over One Piece because he saw a necklace that just had the Jolly Roger on it, and he was like, bro, you watch One Piece? And I was like, yeah, are you caught up? And then from that point, it was always one of those things where it's just all love. We'd be holding people up from getting their pretzels because we'd be talking about One Piece for like 5 minutes at a time. And you know, whenever we're talking restaurant timing, that's a long time to be just like talking about One Piece whenever other people got orders. It's amazing. I love going to anime conventions and stuff like that. Anime conventions are amazing. Like, if you have never been to an anime convention as an anime fan, you are missing out and you are sadly mistaken because that's where you're going to feel the most at home. I always feel at home whenever I'm there because I'm seeing all these people that are into the same thing. And I'm like, you look like me, dog, and you're doing the same thing. I don't oftentimes see people that look like me in real life that like love anime the way that I do. And especially since I'm like a rapper and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, there's a whole bunch of anime rap and stuff like that exists. But that tends to be like on the earlier 20 side of things. I'm not that no more. I'm well past that at this point. I'm 30 years old and happy to be 30 because I understand the value of like, man, each age that I get to is so cool. But at the same time, it's like your other friends that might have been huge anime fans with you at the same time, some of them fall off. It's a sad reality, but it happens. Not everybody's gonna want to watch cartoons for the rest of their life. Like, let's be real about it. So, man, anything else that I could touch on about this? Oh, also, like, if you are interested in getting into community and feel like that you cannot get into like anime conventions and stuff like that, this platform YouTube is a great place to get into to like find other people that are into the same exact shows that you're into at the moment in time, because that's what really has fueled my passion for anime. Whenever I first started getting into One Piece and stuff like that, there was just like a whole bunch of content creators that was talking about the ones that I was into. And from that point, now I feel like I'm friends with them, even though they have no idea who I am. I just watch their content because I'm like, all right, I just read the chapter. Let me go see what they got to think about it. Or I just watch this anime. I know they're going to have some good insight into it. So just little things like that, little hacks that will take you over the top. Oh man, I've been going. I can probably make a part 2 to this, honestly, but that's where I'm gonna leave it for now. Those are the things I like about anime manga. It's such a cool genre of entertainment, and I hope that I'm around to see all of them in. I know that's not gonna happen, unfortunately, but yeah. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, whatever. Peace. Thanks for watching.